I'm out with 3 different machines. Number 1, the Nokta Legend. Number 2, the XP Deus one. Number 3, the Minelab Equinox 800. Now this isn't a head-to-head test by any standards. We're just going to go out there and just let you guys hear how they sound like, see how they perform, because at the moment these machines are hot news on the second-hand market. So let's get started with the Nokta Legend. That'll do, coming up. It's bouncing a bit. Look at the size of that tiny little piece of lead, look. Drop that down to 16 a little bit. Okay, so let's have a little talk about the Nokta Legend. Well, it's been going for a few years now and it's quite a nice machine. There's several different coil options available for this. Build quality I think is pretty good chassis on it. Little bit on the heavy side with this 11-inch coil, but it's manageable. Tones, yep, they're fully adjustable, and at the moment they're going for quite a sensible price, especially second-hand used units. I think you can pick one of these up for about $4.50, something like that. Oh, that's a lovely high tone. Sweet, actually, coming in at 37, 38, 39. Again, not very deep. Nothing's deep when there's lots of iron about. So we're just really looking for efficiency. There it is, it's a coin, look. Do you know what, that could be a Roman denarii, it could be a silver coin. You can just see the silver around the edge of it, can't you? I don't want to rub it too much until I've shown it to my manual. Oh yeah, look, definitely a silver Roman denarii. Happy days. I'm pleased with that, look, little silver denarii, not in the greatest condition, but it is what it is. So did you notice there that the low tones, the low conductive targets, I've got it set up for a low tone, and when we go over something more high conductive, it gives a higher tone. And this Nokta Legend, you've got all the adjustments on it. You've got a full range of tone adjustments, and also you've got different working frequencies. It's a multi-frequency machine, but it can be used in single frequencies as well. And the multi-frequencies, you've got M1, M2, M3. Now M1 is typically a lower working frequency, M2 is a higher working frequency for the lower conductive targets, and M3 is when I use the machine on wet sand, wet grass, something where there's a lot of conductivity in the ground, and it stops all those false signals. But if you're on a Roman site, try and aim for M2. Little low tone, isn't it? Very faint, coming up at 20, and I'm in M3 because I was talking to you about the different M numbers. So let's go back to M2 and see if it makes any difference. Wow. Really has boosted that sound up. Piece of lead, look, tiny piece of lead. So being multi-frequency, this Nokta Legend will be perfectly at home inland and on wet sand. I think that's a big piece of misshaped iron. It's not confident enough. There's one. 11. Lovely sound, coming up at 24, 25. There it is, look. Huh. It's a little button with a pip on it. I think there's some markings on it. There you go, 14, 15. This is another low conductive target. It's a squizzle of lead, nothing exciting there. I'm using the earlier update with this Legend, 1.175, something like that. It had a 7 in it anyway. And I'll tell you why I've gone back on the updates after I've dug this target. There it is, look, a tiny little low quality Roman coin. Yeah, definitely a little Roman coin there. So when it comes to metal detectors, there's so much choice out there, and sometimes it's a good move to get a second-hand machine, especially if you're on a bit of a budget, because just because they're a slightly older model doesn't mean that they're not going to perform properly. Okay, you need to have good sights to get the best out of them really, but for enjoyment side of things, this Legend just works. It just works. It's solid, it feels good. If I was to make one observation with the Legend, it would be the updates. Should we say the most recent updates, because they've started to put extra menus when it comes to double button presses and things like that, and it can be a little bit confusing, so it doesn't rank very high on my fiddleability scale. But once you've got the machine set up to how you want it, you tend not to touch the menu after that. You just up and down with the sensitivity. But what I do like about this Legend, it's got a nice big clear bold display, and when you get to a certain age and your eyesight isn't quite as good, this makes really good sense. So that's the Nokta Legend. Let's have a look now at the XP Deus 1. Deus 1 fast. I'd rather use a custom program on that. Ultimate, that will do with the XY screen, perfect. A lot of information coming from there. That's coming in. Getting no solid number really, but it's repeatable, isn't it? Nice faint one. Getting better. So there, I can see it there, look, can you see it? It's a tiny little Roman coin. I'm getting a bit of an EMI there, it's just there, can you see it? So straight away with the Deus 1, we're into a faint target, but it just turned out to be something decent, which is great. Now these sort of conditions are Deus 1 territory. It loves the dry conditions. Using a HF coil, it loves the smaller targets too. If I had a complaint, this is too small now for my eyesight. I can see the numbers and do everything, but it's when you're naming programs and doing things like that, the font is quite small. But with all these machines, audio is first, isn't it? The audio always comes first before the meter. So what do you think of the Deus 1? Do you still use it? Why not post in your comments below? A little sweet one there, look. Not a bad XY. Let's have a look at it. And that's what it is. It's an absolute tiny little Roman minim. Can you believe that? Such a tiny coin, isn't it? Tiny. Deus 1 isn't a multi-frequency machine, it's a single frequency. So you can select your single frequencies depending on your desired target. It's really simple, but you can use different coils on the Deus 1 for different frequency bands. If you want to see more XP Deus 1 videos, I've got a complete Deus 1 playlist. I'll post the links below. It is as well. It's a tiny little minim. Look at that. When it comes to small targets, you don't really want to be finding anything smaller than that, do you? Wow. There you go. A little Roman minim. Look at that. A beautiful little coin. Again, I'm going to need my glasses to see it. On sites like this, it's not a case of going deep because the iron simply won't allow you to go deep. But the key here is putting fines in your pouch, and that's exactly what we're doing. Who cares if they're very near the surface? The fact is we're saving them, aren't we? Let's see if we can squeak another one out. See, all these iron tones, all this low buzz, it's all brilliant information. And you're just listening for that. Well, you're just listening for that. Again, the XY screen doesn't really know what to call because it's a small or deep target, whereas the audio knows exactly what to do. Don't know what that is. Not sure. Don't know. Okay, we give this one a dig. Another little Roman coin. Makes you wonder how well these are clean up, but normally when they're near to the surface they get all the elements on them, they get the sun on them, and also the fertiliser they put on the fields, which pretty much strips them, so you don't very often get nice Roman coins on the surface. If you dig deep ones on pasture, they're normally quite good and well preserved, but this is just sport really. Don't forget, if you want to hone your metal detecting skills and spend a day detecting with me, I'm doing the bespoke one-to-one tuition days. You can get all the information off the Skill School website. I'll post the links below. Well, that's a little spin out with the Deus one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's go and get the Minelab Equinox 800, see how that deals with this bit of land. Ready to go. I've got all my custom settings in it. I've just got to change something. Here we go. Park, my favourite one. A lot of EMI, so we're going to do a noise cancel, then we're just going to get going. There you go. There's that low tone for a low conductive target. The sulky teenager coming in at 9. And straight away with this machine, I seem to be going perhaps a little bit deeper. I don't know if it's a fluke, but I've seen this in the past. You know, it is quite a punchy machine. And there it is, look. A Roman coin, straight off. Not sure whether it's a good one or bad one at the moment, but I think there's something on it. So we give that a clean up later on and perhaps see if we can get any detail. Yeah, right, I always say that, and do you know what? They end up thrashing around in the boot of my truck, never to see the light again. So I'm terrible for these coins. Once I've found them, I've kind of got no interest in them after that. It's a very confident sound. I tend to trust the machine, so if it doesn't give a perfect signal, I don't try and make the signal sound perfect, if you know what I mean. If it's good, I dig it. If it's not, I tend to leave it. Okay, I could be missing some really deep targets, I guess, but you know, you get them another time. First one for the Equinox. So this Equinox 800 is a multi-frequency machine with single frequency choices. So it means you can go on the conductive ground like wet sand, wet grass, and still get good performance. And it also works well in the dry. Now, going back to frequencies, That's a dodgy signal, you see. I won't try and make that sound good, I'll just walk away. Frequencies, I don't think the single frequencies are very good on this machine, so I'd only choose them if the EMI was so bad you couldn't detect it. I don't know why, just single frequencies are, I don't know, just don't seem to perform as well as dedicated single frequency machines. And I guess there's no reason for it really. No. But I guess Minelab's forte is multi-frequency machines. So that's where they've spent all their time and effort. Again, the menu you need to spend a little bit of time with, understand where everything is, how to get to certain settings, but it really is quite self-explanatory. So the fiddleability on this is quite good. The screen, you've got a lovely big screen, big numbers, lots of information on the screen, nicely laid out actually, so I quite like it. It's got a good feel to it, it's got a chunky feel to it. Good value for money, I'd say. See what I mean with that one? There's no hesitation, there's no fluttering. It's there every time. There, got it. And it is another tiny little Roman coin, look. Such a solid sound. There you go, look. Another little low conductor, 5 is coming up at. Confident sound yet again. Straight away, look, there it is. Yeah, it's a broken part of a coin, possibly a Roman. Again, another confident sound, lovely. If you were thinking about buying a second-hand unit, you wouldn't go far wrong, but there's just a couple of things I think you should look out for. And firstly, the coil lugs did have a habit of snapping, but for a few pounds you can buy a 3D printed coil lug straightener or repair kit. You just simply glue it on, and once that's glued on you'll never have any problems again. Now when I first got this Equinox I was a little bit disappointed about the portability side of things, because it wouldn't fold down very small, it wouldn't go into a backpack, so I bought an aftermarket carbon stem. Now that's going to cost you about £100 if you're lucky, so keep an eye out for that. But even with this lovely collapsible carbon stem, it still wasn't small enough to comfortably go into a rucksack, so I had to buy an added little adaptation there where you unscrew this and the whole arm cup folds down inside the armrest. Now it does fit into a rucksack, so that's absolutely perfect. So if you are buying a used Equinox, it'll be nice if you've got these just little added additions just to sweeten up the deal. And with the Equinox 900 there's no problems with that coil lug, that's been addressed, and they have got collapsible stems. But I've got some really cool Minelab gadgets I'll be reviewing in a future video. If you want to see some more Minelab Equinox videos, I've got my settings video and another video on my metal detecting playlist. That's it guys, what do you think to these 3 machines? I think they're all worthy of a place in the armoury, to be fair with you. They all find high conductive targets, low conductive targets, and they all work really well on this iron contaminated Roman site. So what do you guys think of these 3 machines? Why don't you post in the comments below and just let us know your thoughts. Do you like the Legend, the Deus or the Equinox? What one's the best for your sites, and what finds have you had? Why not let us know if you've had some really good finds with these machines. So that's it, thank you very much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I'll see you on the next video where I think we're out with the, I can't remember. See you soon, bye.